Yeah, it's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. In the love with the...
All right, we are live on Facebook. What's up, y'all? How you guys doing? Hope you're having an absolutely amazing evening. For those of you that have recently started joining or following Pre-PT Grind, welcome to the Pre-PT Grind family. My name is Joseph. I'm a physical therapist. I am also a PT school acceptance coach. And what we do at Pre-PT Grind is we help you get into physical therapy school without having to waste time and money and stress and all the other things that we all experience as pre-PTs. And what you're tuning in for right now has become my favorite series that we've done, period. This is episode, I believe, 52 of what we call the Pre-PT Inspire series. And so what the Pre-PT Inspire series is these are students that have been a part of our coaching program, the acceptance system, and they have gotten into PT school. And so they're basically here to share their acceptance story. The difference is a lot of times when we share our acceptance story, we only share the good stuff. We say, oh yeah, you know, I pushed hard, you can do it too. A lot of the, you know, super nice, encouraging statements, but very few people actually get to hear the struggles that it took to actually get to that point, to actually get to the day when they got accepted into PT school. So we were like, hey, let's just bring in real stories, like just the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so that for you that are pre-PTs that are still struggling and fighting and working hard to get accepted into PT school, you can see yourself through some of these struggles and say, wow, like these students went through something similar to what I'm experiencing right now. These students maybe doubted themselves the way I'm doubting myself. Maybe they had a low GPA the way I have a low GPA. Maybe they applied multiple times the way I'm applying multiple times. And all of a sudden, you start to feel like, wait a minute, if they can do it, then so can I. So that is the purpose of this series. And so if you've missed the other 51 episodes, I would say just go back and watch them. They're on our Facebook page. But tonight you are in for a treat. We have none other than future Dr. Charlene Cortez. Charlene, how are you feeling tonight?
I am feeling so good. How are you guys?
Well, I'm feeling great. And for those of y'all that are watching live right now, say hello if you guys want us to shout your name out, but just thank you for joining us here tonight. I was just double checking to make sure that we're actually live. But tonight what we're going to do is this. Charlene's just going to share her story. She's going to share her reasons for choosing physical therapy. She's going to share what her biggest obstacles were. She's going to share how she actually got accepted into PT school ultimately. And then hopefully in that journey, in that story, you'll be able to learn something. You'll be able to be inspired. You'll be able to feel like you can keep fighting and keep pushing towards your dream of becoming a physical therapist. So I'm super excited, but let's start from the beginning, my friend. What led you to choose physical therapy? Why did we even go down this path? What was the light bulb moment that said, hey, wow, like this is what I want to do with my career? So talk to us about that.
So physical therapy was actually something that I never even considered. Like from the beginning, I went through pharmacy, pre-med, never thought about physical therapy. Okay. Yeah. Like not even once. And it was my senior year of college. It was during my winter break. That's when I realized that, oh, maybe I should look into physical therapy, because a month prior to my winter break, I actually got a job as a rehab aide at 𝗲𝗏𝗋𝗏 because my friend works there, and she was like, oh, like you should just come work with me. I'm like, okay, like why not? You know, I need money anyways, you know? So I started working with her, and that's when I realized what physical therapists actually do. You know, they don't just massage people, because I always had that mentality for some reason, like that's all they did. But really, physical therapists do more than that. Like they have such a good relationship with their patients. And looking back on that, the past 3 years, I have been a CrossFit coach, and I have been working with athletes like directly, and seeing like the correlation between the two careers. I was like, I think I want to take this to the next level. I love physical therapy. And so that's the moment where I was like, okay, I am going to go all in into this career. I switched from being pre-med to physical therapy, everybody was so supportive, especially my mom, because for the past year, like in college, my mom was the one who actually told me like, maybe you should go into physical therapy, you know, like dip your foot into physical therapy. And I always just said no. I don't even know why. I just didn't have a reason. I always just thought like, no, I don't know. I don't really know what it is. So maybe not. And so the day that I told my mom that I wanted to do physical therapy, she was so happy. Like, she was like, I knew it. I could just see you as a physical therapist, blah, blah, blah. So then that's when I realized like, okay, I am going to put all my effort into doing physical therapy. But yeah, just the moment, just like, especially seeing that like how physical therapists interact with the people that they work with and seeing that from like coaching, that's the moment that I was like, okay, I think this is what I want to do with my life. I was
Oh,
a
that's
senior, so I was very behind already with things. So
wow, wow, wow.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, not everyone knows that PT is what they want. Like, to be honest, you'd be surprised how many other students didn't know what a physical therapist did
Mhm.
until
I was like,
after they got their undergrad degree, you know, maybe even
mhm.
years out, and they maybe, you know, went a different path and were like, wait a minute, like PTs do what?
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
and
That's
then now you
exactly
just
what
get
I was
pulled
like, what?
back in. Yeah, yeah. And the fact
Yeah.
that your mom, started pushing you in that direction as well
Mhm. You know what they
is
say, mother
absolutely
knows best. That's actually very true.
that she does. So everybody go listen to your mothers, please.
Yes.
No, but now we know a little bit about why you chose PT. And
Mhm.
hopefully for those of y'all listening, maybe some of y'all knew you wanted to be physical therapists for a while. Maybe some of you are just now realizing, you know, there are some people that are following us that are like, hey, like I'm just like looking into PT. I'm not even sure if I want to do it. So
Mhm.
keep doing your research, keep digging. I know this is not a question that I said I'd ask you, but for someone that is kind of digging into PT, what are some things that you did to make sure that you were certain that physical therapy was what you wanted, so that for those that are like looking into it, they
Mhm.
can know, oh, these are some things that I can do to basically kind of verify if this is what I want to do or not.
Yeah. So it all started again when I became a rehab aide. And at first, I always thought that physical therapy just related to people who were injured physically, so like sports wise and things like that. Um, but as I started to shadow more physical therapists, I realized that physical therapy is more than just healing a person physically, but also mentally. There are a lot of times, like when people get injured, they have this mentality that they will never go back to doing what they love or being able to do things that they used to do before. And as physical therapists, our job is to change their mind and let them know that, hey, you're here because we want you to go back to doing what you love. And so that was like the first part where I was like, okay, like this is for sure something I want to do. Especially like forming relationships with patients and just being able to like know more about their lives, not just like in physical therapy, but outside. I feel like sometimes people come to physical therapy and actually talk to us, like tell us like about what's actually going on, you know? And so I really like even just giving that support, even if it's not just like physical therapy, but that mental support. And then after that, I started actually shadowing a physical therapist in the vestibular field. So people who work with like dizziness and things like that. And so seeing the different branches of physical therapy, I thought was amazing. I thought it was so unique at how many different things that physical therapists can do. And so that's when I was like, okay, this is absolutely something I want to do. So now I'm like trying to keep an open mind about like what I want to do in the future too. I think that's really important, is that a lot of the times people just think, oh, you're just healing injuries, but there's so many injuries out there that are unknown that physical therapists can actually help you with. So yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
For those of y'all listening, that was some real value right there.
Mhm.
For even if you've decided that PT is for you, I think it's never a bad idea to keep your options open within the profession. Because I can't tell you how many students, you know, in my PT class that, you know, came into PT school thinking, oh, I want to be this, or I want to be this kind of PT or that kind of
Mhm.
physical therapist. And then by the time they finish, they're like, wait a minute, like I didn't even know that I actually had a passion for neuro or
Mhm.
peds or whatever else. And so I absolutely love it. Next question. What were your biggest obstacles? So we know why you chose physical therapy. We knew we now know that you chose PT a little bit later than most, which is great, right? But what were your biggest hurdles? What were your biggest obstacle? Because the reason why you're even on this interview is because you're already accepted into PT school. So that's done. Like we already know that the story ends well, but let's talk about the part that most students don't actually talk about, because I think this is the most significant part of this conversation. Because when students struggle, and you already know that the purpose of what we do at Pre-PT Grind is to get students to just not quit. Like if this is what you want to do as a profession, like don't quit, like don't pull the plug. And so a lot of the reasons why we quit is because we feel like we're the only ones that go through whatever our struggles are, whether it's like doubt or whatnot. And so what were yours, so that students that can relate to you can say, wow, okay, cool. Like if she went through that, then maybe my situation is not as impossible as I thought it was.
So one of my biggest struggles was procrastination. And the reason, and the reason why I procrastinated so much was because I already felt so behind in the process. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I had no guidance whatsoever. No one in my family has ever applied to physical therapy school. And so having that like struggle of not knowing what to do, I felt really like I wasn't motivated to do anything, because I was like, I don't even know where to begin. And I remember I started doing my research for a little bit. I was like, okay, what is the average GPA that you need to get into physical therapy school? The one thing I focused on more is the numbers. And I know that numbers, there's more things that matter than numbers, but I focus on the numbers for some reason, because that's what people put in your head. They're like, oh, it's really hard to get in, like make sure you have good grades. And so I was looking it up and I was like, okay, I have a much lower GPA than these people who are getting accepted into PT school. So I did what everybody else would do. I looked up YouTube videos on how to get accepted into PT school with a low GPA. I started watching videos about that. And I think I was like 10 videos deep. And then I came across Pre-PT Grind and that video about like getting into PT school with a low GPA. And so that's where like my journey kind of started, where I kind of tried to pick myself up more. I became more motivated to kind of continue what I was wanting to do. But then again, procrastination kicked in. I didn't start the acceptance system until like about August, when everybody else was already turning in their applications. And so at that point I was like, okay, you know what, I am just gonna put myself in and try this system. And the videos have helped me so much. And it motivated me to really put myself out there and focus on the things that I have to do and stop the procrastination. And so, but honestly, one of the main struggles that I have encountered was just procrastinating, not knowing what to do.
Yeah, for like, I can watch this. So I'm going to ask for those of y'all that are live, because everything that you just said right now, you said procrastination, feeling behind. For those of y'all that are live, can you say I relate in the chat? You don't have to tell us which you relate with, but for those of y'all that are live, I just want y'all to see that like y'all are not alone, right? So say I relate if you have felt any of these things. Procrastinating, feeling like, man, like I'm just procrastinating everything, because part of it is fear, part of it's just overwhelm, part of it's just not knowing what to do next. Feeling behind, right? So maybe you guys feel behind. You're like, man, like I'm behind everyone else. I don't know what to do. I'm basically buying into what I've been told, that it's hard to get in, or it's impossible to get into PT school. If you have ever felt any of those, can you say I relate in the comments below? I just want y'all to see, right? So Charlene's already accepted into PT school, so she good, but she was in the same boat. And I think a lot of times, like I feel like we get more overwhelmed because we feel like we're the only ones kind of feeling that. It's like, man, like everyone else has it together but me. Everyone else, what you just said, you were like, hey, I joined the acceptance system in August, where everyone else was basically had it together, right? We psych ourselves out because we're like, yo, like, I'm the only one that did not keep it together, when in reality, a lot of us are feeling the exact same way. So for you, and I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction because you already answered the next two questions. For you, what like when you were in the accepted system, because and for those y'all that are wondering, the accepted system is our coaching program. It's the one like right there in that logo. And if you want to learn more about it, go to acceptedsystem.com. But for you, like what was the shift? Like when did everything change? Like even once you joined the accepted system, how did it actually help you like pull yourself out of that train of thought, that holding things off, I'm procrastinating, I feel behind, I don't know what to do, I'm holding things off, I'm procrastinating, I don't know what to do, maybe it's just me, I'm overwhelmed, I'm having all these voices because of my low GPA, maybe I'm not going to be good enough, maybe I won't get in, and like how did it help you combat those things? Because that's so critical, because most of us struggle with it. So tell us about that.
So I remember watching the masterclass video, and that was that video that really shifted my mindset. Yeah, I remember taking notes, and it was like, do you want to get accepted to PT school? And I was like, yes, so I do. I took all the notes that I needed to take. That was the one video that really stood out to me. I started to become more organized, trying to figure out where I should apply. That was like the first step. It was like, where should you apply to school? How many schools should you apply to? Those videos helped guide me so much into making the decisions that I had made to apply to PT school. I even watched the videos of Casey trying to like fill out the PT cast information, and I was actually doing it while he was doing it. And I was like, and even though I knew it was like a video, just having somebody there to kind of like guide me through that, it still helped me. And so at that point I was like, wow, the things that you guys have, the resources that you have for students has really helped me, even with like, especially the essay. I watched the PTCast essay video. That helped me, but also that got me into a rut again, because while I was typing my essays, I didn't feel that it was as personal as it could be. And then again, it got me into a rut. But then I started talking to Robin, who really pushed me to try to get my essays done. She worked with me a ton to make sure that I was on track. So I think one of the best things about the accepted system is not just the resources that you have for pre-PT students, but also the people that you that help us through the process. You know, having Robin as a coach was honestly the best thing that's ever happened. like I can't even thank her enough for everything that she's done for me. But yeah, just having people who are supportive of this journey I think it's so important, because it really changes your mindset. Being surrounded by such negative people, it will bring you down, but being surrounded by people who will uplift you, it changes your entire mentality about how you feel about yourself. And that is what acceptance system has done for me. It's made me become more confident in my abilities, to stop worrying about my grades, because it's not the most important thing in the world. So yeah.
Well, listen, y'all. For those of y'all that are like, okay, I'm stuck, I don't know where to begin. Listen, we're actually doing that masterclass again. So it's actually funny that you actually mentioned that, because we're doing the masterclass again on April 11th, and we've actually opened up registration for it. I think there's already 350 students that have already registered for it. So y'all go save your seat. Go to Level Up. Would one person in the chat put this in the comments? leveluptheprept.com. It's a free training. It's an hour and a half, but I mean, Charlene just told y'all that it helped her.
So that training.
So I would say it's probably the next best step.
Yes.
So go register for it. Be ready to actually learn. Be ready to be self-aware and self-reflective, because that's where we get stuck as students. We're like, I don't know what to do. I get overwhelmed. I'm buying all these like things that I've been told by my advisor and family members and myself. I mean, most of the doubts that we get come from ourselves, for crying out loud. Other people just confirm it, right? Like if I feel confident in myself and someone comes and tries to drop their negative energy on me, it's easier for me to combat it if I don't believe it. But if I already believe it, someone else coming in and saying, hey, like maybe you won't get in, maybe you're not good enough, maybe your GPA is too low. Now you're just confirming my doubts, which makes it even worse. So just go to leveluptheprept.com. We will see you there. It'll be live training. Just go save your seat. And it won't be on any other social media platform. So you actually have to register for it to have access, but it'll be worth your while. But Charlene's already given y'all some gems tonight, y'all. And what I would like to hear is, and at the very end, I'll have you kind of talk about your advice or takeaways or value that you want to share. But tell us about the day you got accepted into PT school, because you put all this work in, you went through all the doubts, you went through the frustrating aspects of like, oh, like I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm behind. I don't know what to do. I'm behind the 8 ball. It's August, and then now you're on the other side. So tell us what that day was like, so that the students listening right now can kind of live through your experience and celebrate with you. Tell us about that.
Sure. So before I actually got accepted, I applied to about like 8 schools. All right. So not as much as like other people would have, but it's more than what you guys had suggested. So I applied to 8 schools, and I remember getting rejected from 2, getting waitlisted. And at that point, I was only waiting on like 2 schools left. And I was like, oh my God, I have 2 schools to rely on. Like, I am not going to get in. So then I decided to apply to more schools. And sure enough, the minute I applied to more schools, I hear back from the one school that I actually did not get rejected or waitlisted from. And this day was actually really funny. So I was going to get my COVID vaccine. I had just gotten my first dose. I was waiting in line to schedule my next one, and I get this email from Creighton, and it's like, oh, there's an update to your application. I'm like, okay. And my heart's like beating so fast, like 100 miles an hour. I'm like, oh my God, like what is it? Like I just got rejected again. Like I've already been waitlisted. I've gotten like so many interviews, but I keep getting waitlisted. Like it's probably just another waitlist or rejection. And I open it and I see like confetti on the page, and it's like, congratulations. Like, I'm like, no way. I'm like, no way, this is not real. I'm like, no way. The first instinct, I call my mom, and she works as a pharmacist, and she's like doing her rounds and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm gonna be a physical therapist. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, no way. She goes, you're gonna be a physical therapist? And I was like, yeah, like I got it. And she's like, oh, I can't cry right now. I can't cry right now. Like I'm in the middle of work. I'm like, no, yeah, like I just wanted to call you. And I like yelled in the middle of the hospital as I'm getting like my COVID vaccine. Yeah. And it was just like, I can't even forget that moment, because it was like everything was going on, and like here I get these good news about like physical therapy school. And so you know how they make you wait like 15 minutes in the hospital? I wait in the waiting area, and I have no signal, and all I want to do is tell everybody that 15 minutes of holding in the good news. I was like, I can't even tell anybody. The only person I told was my mom. Like, I want to tell everybody in the world. So those were probably the longest 15 minutes of my life. But yeah, that day was so busy, like, but it was such a great day, just like finding out that my dream has come true. Like I get to be a physical therapist.
Wow. Yeah, I can't even imagine what that would have felt like for that 15 minutes, just not knowing what to do with myself. It's like, I want to tell people. Did you just like start telling strangers like, hey, I don't know you, but I just got accepted into PT school?
Yeah, no, I told the girl that I scheduled with. She's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I just got into physical therapy school. And she's like, oh, congrats. I'm like, thank you. Like I told strangers before my family, because I had no
You gotta tell somebody.
Right? I know, I had to tell somebody. I like couldn't keep it in though. Like it was such good news.
Oh, wow. So proud of you. For those of y'all watching right now, like, is this inspiring y'all tonight? Like I hope everything y'all are hearing tonight is inspiring you, because that's a day that every single one of you will have the ability to experience if you don't quit, if you don't pull the plug, if you keep searching for solutions. It's like, hey, if I feel overwhelmed, if I feel stuck, like, what do I do? Where do I go? Like, who do I get help from? And you just keep moving forward, regardless of how impossible it feels right now. Like, just take a brief moment tonight and just imagine what that would actually feel like. Like, what would that mean? Like, what would that mean to you? Like, to actually get your acceptance letter. Charlene's already like experienced it for herself, but like for you guys, like what would it actually mean to you? Like what are you willing to do to get to that moment? Like, are you willing to like retake classes? Are you willing to like figure out a different strategy to do better on the GRE? Are you willing to shift up how you address schools? Like, are you willing to relearn how certain parts are done in the application so that that day can become real? Because like, I think so sometimes we forget that we're not doing this to get accepted into PT school. We're doing this to become physical therapists. Like, that's your dream, right? And so I absolutely love the fact that you shared that. For those of y'all watching, I hope that this is pushing you to just say, hey, keep betting on yourself, keep pushing, don't listen to anyone that doubts you. If they doubt you, chances are they either don't believe in your dream as much as you do, or I don't know, maybe their dreams were crushed. I'm not sure, but a lot of people will plant seeds of doubt because you don't have this picture perfect 4.0-esque application, and that's just not how it works. So I love the fact that you shared that. Let's go to the last question. Out of everything that you've experienced, what piece of advice would you give to students that are, say, where you were a year ago, right? So April, May, March, this part of the year last year, obviously we were in the middle of a pandemic. So just think of where your headspace was back then. And then realize that there are students right now who are in that same headspace. There's same doubts, same frustrations. What would you tell yourself now that you know that you already got accepted, you already know that it's a done deal? Like, what would you tell yourself to keep yourself motivated, to keep you moving? Like, what gems would you take back to that version of you?
I think if there's any advice that I would give people is to say that your best investment is in yourself. Yeah. So take the steps that you need to get to where you want to be, whether it's asking for help or doing all the hard work, retaking classes, studying for the GRE and retaking it so many times because you can't get the score that you want. Put in the time and the effort, because in the end, it will be worth it. You will be where you want to be if you put the work in. Seek for advice, especially for people who have experienced this. Don't be afraid to seek out for help. As somebody who has always been so independent, and I hated reaching out for help, even from my professors, I hated it for some reason. I don't know why, but like, one thing I learned was that if you can't do it yourself, don't be afraid to ask for help, because the only way that you are going to learn is from other people if you haven't already yourself. And so that's one thing that I learned. Yeah.
I don't know. I have nothing else to add to that. First of all, thank you so much for being willing to share your story. Thank you for not pulling the plug on your journey, or not quitting, or not slowing things down. Obviously, you had a pretty cool support system, starting with mom, right? The first person you called, right? You had an amazing support system, but there are moments where it's tough, and to keep moving, especially when you feel alone, is very difficult. So I love the fact that you said that. And for those of y'all that are watching right now, go register for the masterclass. I'm telling you, you'll probably thank yourself for it. Oh, no, you will thank yourself for it afterwards. LevelUpThePrePT.com, and the training is on April 11th. It's at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And if you can't make it live, we make the replay available to you for 3 days. So just go register, and if you can't be there live, watch it a day later or 2 days later, so that you can like jumpstart your acceptance journey and just figure out, like, what am I missing? Like, what is I'm stuck. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what I'm missing. So like, you'll learn that there, and then you'll know exactly what to do after that. So looking forward to seeing y'all there. Go register at LevelUpThePrePT.com. And before we finish, is there anything else you would like to tell the students that are listening to this, either live or on replay?
For one, definitely attend the masterclass, because I learned more about myself than I have ever. And secondly, don't stop trying. Things will get hard, but just remember to believe in yourself, especially during this really hard process. And also, this is the hardest part about getting into physical therapy school. Is the hardest part. Once you're in, you're in. So celebrate those good moments and work through the hard ones, So really it.
That's it. So I hope y'all found value. Share this with a friend, tag a friend here, another pre-PT. Keep moving. And one day I look forward to welcoming you into the profession of physical therapy as a colleague. Y'all have an amazing rest of your day. We do a live stream like this every single Tuesday night. So we got another one waiting for y'all next week, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to be inspired again, we'll see you then. Bye.